So what's going on, my gorgeous friends on the internet? My name is Victor from Code with Vic. So welcome to Code with Vic. Today we have another great tutorial for beginners who are actually starting out or programming and want to get a little bit forward. So today's video we are going to learn the Python is a programming language. Now Python is a general purpose programming language that can be used for creating of web apps, Android apps, different types of GUI application, automation of tasks, creating of different artificial intelligence model, and so on. So we are not concerned with all that. The next agenda is Python data types. Okay, so Python has different kinds of data types, but before we go into different Python data types, we are going to be using a website for writing our Python code. Now you're going to head on to repo.it, www.repl.it, so we can get started on this programming journey. So I'm going to go to the site right here. You can see the site is loaded up and there are a lot of things, cool features you can do here, such as in-browser IDE. Okay, we've got real-time collaboration, GitHub integration, 50 plus languages from Python to C++ to HTML and so on. So this is actually a great website if you want to learn how to code. I would advise you to actually sign up. Okay, so this is a great website, and in today's video we're going to be totally based on the Python programming language since it is simple and easy to use for beginners. So how do you get started? Click on the start coding and you're going to select the programming language you want to use. For us is Python. We click on Python, we click on create repo, and it's going to create a new coding environment for you for free. You don't have to pay a penny. Okay, and you don't have to download any programming IDE, which is an integrated development environment. So this is an online IDE. So it is now loaded up and we can actually write code here. So before we write code, we have to know what the data types of Python are, and I'm going to make this a little bit larger for our mobile users. Now we're going to learn about different data types such as integers, we've got float, and we've got strings. Okay, so these are the different data types. For integers, we can have positive numbers 1 2 3, we can have 0, and even negative numbers. Okay, -2, -3, -4, and so on. And then for float, we've got floating numbers 1.2, 3.4, 7.8, and so on. Now for strings, we can actually have these quotes are meant for creating strings. So we can have an apple. Okay, we can have an orange. You can go to the next line. Strings can also be made of single quotes such as this. So single quotes, we can type whatever we want, say gray. Okay, so these are strings. Strings can also contain other data types such as numbers 1 2 3, and we can have other things. Okay, so that is great. Those are the 3 data types we're going to be looking for today. There are other data types which will be covered in future tutorials. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be looking at is variables in Python. So the variables in Python, and the first thing we need to know what a variable is. So variables are used for storing data types, just like the ones we've looked above, and we've got some kind of rules for creating variables. The first rule is that they cannot start with numbers. So they cannot start with numbers. Okay, variables cannot start with numbers. That is the first rule. And we've got another one. So we can't have a variable such as one var or one name. That is not good. So this should not be done. The second one is that variables cannot contain special characters. So they cannot contain special characters. Okay, that's another one. So you can have a variable such as name, let's say the $sign or the and sign. You can have these special characters in your variables. Okay, and then the third one is they must begin with either letters or the underscore. Okay, so this is the underscore and it can be used for creation of variable names, and variables must start with these. Okay, so we've looked a little about variables and we've also looked at the different data types in Python. So now let's go ahead and actually write a simple program. Okay, So I'm going to collect the name. My name is what? My name is Victor, and you can see it's of type string. Okay, just as we have in math class, x is equals to 1. That is quite common and seen most places. So this is what? This is the variable, and this is the data type. The data type is what? String. This is the variable name, and this is what? The data type. Okay, so there is a good keyword in Python I'm going to introduce you to, and that is the print keyword. So you type print and you open and close parentheses, and I can type 1 2 3. Okay, now what does the print keyword do for us? It outputs the value of any data type you put here. Okay, so the value of name is what? Is Victor. So for example, we've got 1 2 3 in here. What happens when I type that? Now you're gonna click on this run button. Okay, click on the run button, and you can see 1 2 3 is outputted to the screen. Now if I change this to x, print x, what do you think is going to be outputted to the screen? What do we get? You see we've got 1 because that is the value of x. X is actually 1. If we try to print name, what do we get? We click on run and we are getting Victor. So you can see that is very important to note. We have to specify the data type we want to print. Okay, so I'm going to clear this out right now, and we are going to look at another important keyword in Python. So if for example you want to collect the name of a person, then we're going to use the impute statement to collect the name, and then we're going to write enter name. Okay, so you can see it's a little bit splitted. Let me take that back a little. So you can see we've got enter name on the screen, which allows the user to enter his or her name. So the next line, let's try to print the name we're going to receive and see what works out for us. So we run that. Say enter name, I type Victor, not visitor, Victor, and then when I run this, you can see Victor is printed immediately in the next line, which means this name was stored as we entered that. So that is a good way to collect an input. Now we've learned about everything we need to write a simple program, which is the last agenda for this video. So you can see we've done what are variables and how to make variables. So we're going to write a simple program. Now we want to write a program to calculate the circumference of a circle. So let's say, what is the formula for the circumference of a circle? Okay, it's 2 pi r. So we just need the value of the radius. So we're gonna go ahead and print. We're gonna print program to calculate the circumference of a circle using c is equal to 2 pi r. Okay, 2 pi r, you could put times there so it's obvious of what we need. Okay, so what does that do? It's just going to print a kind of an intro for us, a program to calculate circumference of a circle using c is equals to 2 pi r. So what do we need from the user? What do we need to collect as the input from the user? It's obviously what? The radius. So we're going to go ahead and say radius is equal to an input, and we're going to say enter radius. Okay, so that is what we're going to identify the user. At this point, let's go ahead and print radius. Okay, what happens? We run this. What do we get? Enter radius 5. You see it prints out 5 for us. Okay, so everything is working. We just need to collect the circumference. Okay, circumference. Oh, let's just use c, please. Circumference is long. c is equal to 2 times. Now what is the value of pi? It's 3.142. Okay, then times the radius, radius. The radius was specified, and I believe we should get away with this. So let's go ahead and print the value of c. Make sure if you're making the c an uppercase, it should be the uppercase here. So because Python is very case sensitive, I forgot to tell you this, but Python is case sensitive, which means it treats the big C and the little c and the big C as different variables, so you can have the big C and the little c to be the same. Okay, so if you get into any error while doing this, you can comment it in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer most of them. Okay, so it's gonna print C right now. Let's run this and see what we get. So when I run it, what is your radius? 5. Well, we run into our first error, I believe. Now this is telling us that type error, can't multiply sequence of non-int by type float. So it's trying to actually tell us that this radius we've got here is what? A string, and it can't multiply 3.142 by a string. Okay, so we've got to convert this radius to what? To an integer. So how do we do that? You just type int, open here and close here. Okay, let me zoom out so you see what I've done. I type int, then I cover the input. Okay, cover the entire input, and this is called type casting. So we've casted this input, which was a string, to what? An integer, and this is very common in Python. We're just converting the types of this. Okay, so now we've got a basic program we should run. Let's get that to run. So click on run, enter radius, we enter 5. Okay, wow, you can see that works out fine. It even gives us this extra decimals, so you can see that this program is actually running fine. You can write your own program to calculate the area of a circle, or maybe the length, or the area of a square, or whatever. You can write any program, a basic program, to collect the names of your friends and so on. I hope this tutorial was interesting and you were able to learn something. Now if you got any problem, you can actually comment it in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer those. Now I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. You can like this video in order to help this channel, and also subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified when I release amazing content on programming. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching. This is Still Code with Vic.